All right, everybody, check this out. Our Hyperjet 142 came back. Turns out the gentleman didn't even get to talk on it. This was built for another customer 2 years ago, and he took very good care of it. But he had the Italian Stinger board in there because that's what we were using at the time. Since then, we developed our own boards, and now he actually has the second generation of that board with this guy. This is our new 2879 board, and as you can see, that's a Toshiba. We managed to dig him up a nice old Toshiba with a nice HFE, and we rebuilt the board. However, I miscalculated one of my components, and it didn't last long, so we've repaired that. But in the meantime, we found a few other problems. Now, this was a stock 142 when it came, and this was my first custom radio after 20 years of retirement that I built when I came back. So we wanted to show off a little bit with what we had in our hands at the time. So this is what happens now. CBPA is no longer CBPA. When you turn it to CB and that light comes on, it actuates the board in the back. When you shut this light, off, now you're back to straight radio. We also added this counter. Now, this counter does not work all the time like a normal counter. This is a receive, find out where you're at reference counter. When you key, goes a little goofy. When you go to sideband, it plumb shuts off. You clarify who you're talking to on sideband and you talk, and it works perfect. But this particular counter did not have enough offsets in it for me to accommodate AM, upper sideband, lower sideband, and transmit. That's 3 extra offsets that this counter just doesn't have. And at the time, we didn't know what else was available, so we used this. We cut his speaker out, we put this in, and then we put his extra channels in, working like they should. In the middle is regular 40. When you go to the left, it takes you to the lowers. You turn to the middle, you're back to the regular 40. When you turn to the right, there's your first set of uppers, and you go one more, and that's your second set of uppers, all on this switch right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. 3 positions. Let's see. There it is. So it is 4 positions of banks, of channels. We did open his clarifier, so wherever this says is where you're at on transmit and receive. He does need a 30 amp power supply to run this. The new owner, that board does not get tied into the power supply of the radio. It gets its own 30 amp power supply in the 2000 we put in the speaker. And sometimes on these 142s we'll shoehorn them in here, but we didn't have to do that to this one. So the DC plug on the back runs the board and it runs the counter. So the other thing we did was his digits went out. And we didn't have any more digits to accommodate. So we took an old 148, the channel selector and the digit portion, and grafted, basically we glued the receive and transmit lights to that board, wired it all up. This is actually a 148 display, but it works perfectly. We changed the lens to match, and you'll notice the counter reads right along with it. Now the counter, the clarifier is also unlocked on this radio. So if I turn this 10-turn counter, wherever that says I'm at, that's where we're at. So it is a true reference counter. It's not a frequency display. It's a true reference counter in receive mode only. Okay? So that's the way that works. And that's pretty much it. He's got a 10-turn variable dead key here. So now let's do some power checks here. Basic radio, the light's off. We're on a 100-watt slug. Peak reading is on. Mic gain's at about 12 o'clock. But let's turn it down for a minute. Down for a minute. It's about a watt dead key. Audio. Audio. Oh, we're on the 200-watt scale. Let's fix that. That's better. We were on the 200-watt scale. So there's 20 watts of PEP, just short of 20 watts, right? So now we're going to go over here. No external amps, no external anything. We're going to turn this on. That light comes on. We're all the way down. That's going to give us a 10-watt dead key. While I'm doing my video, a 10-watt dead key. And a nice 100 watts of PEP. Now let's look at this on RMS. 38 watts of RMS out of a Cobra 142. So now let's look at his carrier. You can unlock his carrier, turn his mic gain down, and key, right? All the way down. Right now I got him set where he likes it at a 10-watt carrier. But if we turn this carrier, I'm going to key this with my foot. Let's foot key it, no mod, and we're going to turn the 10-turn counter up. And as we do that, watch the meter on the front of the radio. It climbs, as well as our envelope climbs. Okay? It is a 10-turn carrier control. Okay? So, now, once we've got it all the way down again, back to a 10-watt dead key. Turn our peak switch back on. Turn our mic gain back up. He's back to over 100 watts of PEP. This is the only radio we will build like this one has been built. This was a special order for the original customer. The original customer got some newer stuff. And like everything else, he's like, it's cool, but maybe it's time to pass it on to somebody else. I have another gentleman who has been very good to our establishment, and we basically traded the original owner out of this radio, upgraded it, and gifted it to the gentleman who owns it now. Unfortunately, I missed one part and it had to come back. So now it's done. It's healthy. The only Hyperjet Cobra 142 on the face of the planet. It's right here on my bench. I built it. There will not be another one built like this. We do 142 conversions, however. It's changed. So, we do still do a Super Duty conversion on these, but not a Hyperjet. This is a very rare conversion that took us a long time to do. So this is not going to be an everyday. Everyday offering for you guys wanting to upgrade these 142s. Now, to show you what we can do for you, we have another gentleman who's getting another 142 done. Now, when you guys get these done, I prefer that they look like this. That radio's perfect. That radio's 35 years old. Looks like it just came out of the box. Okay? What we're going to do for him is pretty much the same thing. He's getting maybe a double board, I think, in this one. His speaker is going to get lost but we're going to have one of these counters in here that reads constantly like the one we put in this one. This is one of our custom builds here. This is going to back to Marshall James. It came in for its 1-year checkup. It had a little bit of an issue. We got that straightened out, and we are extremely behind on our shipping. But this is his. It's done. It's going back to him. But this 142 is going to be converted as well. Not quite to the physical extent of this one, but it's going to be a nice... It's going to be a nice radio. So there it is. This is the only Hyperjet 142 on the face of the planet. I built it. I stand behind it. The guy that gets it doesn't abuse his stuff. So this radio is going to get to shine for a very long time. So this is just another example of what we can do with your plain Jane stuff. 142 is probably one of the most underestimated radios as far as performance goes in the Cobra arena, period. This radio will swing more than a 2000. The ears are a little bit more noisier, but who cares? Once you put a counter in it and the extra channels, it's a mini 2000, only it's got better audio. So, there are a lot of radios that are underestimated like that. Here, a lot of guys don't realize the loudest radio on the face of the planet is a Cobra 25, the smallest one. And it will out-talk your 29, your 148, half your strikers when I'm done with them. Once again, you guys got to start learning what's what. This guy knew he had all this guy knew is in the beginning was he had a perfect 142 that he... that he wanted to bring into the 21st century, and that's what we did for him. So just another example of what this custom shop can do for any of you guys, okay? And keep in mind, all our work, anything we do to your radio is guaranteed as long as I have a pulse and you still own the radio. It's a lifetime warranty on any of my conversions. Now, that is not the entire radio, that's our conversion. The radio, however, does have a 1-year warranty from us after we're done with it. So, there it is. This is a rare conversion. I wanted you guys to see it. It's been up before, but not all done up like it is now. We got a new labeling machine that my wife was kind enough to buy me. God love her. Makes our lettering a lot nicer. And this one was nice to begin with. So, that's how it works. If you want to run this radio on a regular amp, like right now, I could shut this off, dump it into my Firebird 500, which is a low drive amp, drive it all day long with no problems. But now somebody gets stupid. I'm going to put my Firebird on on standby. I'm going to reach over here. I'm going to turn this 100-watt board and the radio on. Then I'm going to go down to this 2,000-watt linear and knock their skull caps off. It's a nice, versatile, use it for whatever you want to use it for piece. So now I'm babbling. You guys have seen the basic gist of what it is. The board sits a little high, so we put an isolation pad on this side with a metal pad on top that will ground against the cover to help keep everything bonded. So there it is. 409 Radio Chicago Hyperjet Cobra 142. The only one you're going to see. Don't ask us to build another one. We will not do it. However, we will build you an individual conversion for whatever else you got. But this is just one example I wanted you guys to show you because... just keep in mind, I had not touched a radio for 20 years before I built this one. And we've gone so far past even what this is now. You guys come to me for stuff you want, not for stuff you need. I say this all the time. I'm going to say it again. Quality costs 2 things, time and money. If you have time but not a lot of money, we'll work with you. We'll do something for you. If you're one of those guys that's got a lot of money and no time, go down the street because we don't rush anything in this shop. Quality is quality, and we produce quality, and we stand behind our work. Just like our birdcage amplifiers. That amplifier is guaranteed for life. the chassis. We don't guarantee the tubes. However, I do cover the transformers, even though I don't make them, but I know the guy that makes them. So, you know, we try to do everything to make sure that when you guys buy something from here that you've got peace of mind, that you're still going to be able to use your shit as long as you want to use your shit. You're going to be able to use your stuff exactly the way you want to use your stuff. When these guys build these decks, I tell them, you need to sit down with a piece of paper. All the radios you've ever used and you thought, wow, this don't have that, I'm going to have my technician put it in. Stop all that. When you guys get ready to build your last radio, DAC, one of these, gutted and rebuilt. Any of our ground up builds, that is a custom radio. That's something you're buying because you want it, not because you need it. And they are quality and they are expensive, but they are worth it. Talk to Shotgun in Chicago. He's got a DAC 10 case, black face, gold lettering, two 6LQ6 tubes with a Superstar 3900 HPZX radio to drive it all. Everything inside the DAC is brand new. Now he can sit in front of that thing, rub himself in places he only talks about at parties, and enjoy the damn radio. These radios, these are cool too. It's an original 142. We've just brought it into the current time frame that we're living in. So, take a good look. We will not build another one. Hyperjet Cobra 142. This was a prototype. This is the only one. We will not reproduce it. However, we do have some very, 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 very cool conversions we can do on a radio just like this. So, check it out. 7-3, stay safe, wash your damn hands. Nothing but love, people. We'll see you.